glass artwork. A little further down the line, we also have our pipe warmer. It does what the name implies. We have these stainless steel pipes and rods. This heats up the ends of those pipes so that we're able to scoop up the glass and not lose all of our working heat right away. The hot metal likes to stick to the hot glass, cold metal not so much. And then finally, we also have our annealing ovens, or kilns. You'll see those parked at each end of the floor over here. These are big glorified toaster ovens, but instead of 400 degrees to bake cookies, they are parked at about 1,000 degrees to make our glass sit at a nice and stable temperature. When we're done working with our glass today, like I said, it's about 2,100 degrees when it's hot and molten coming out of there. But on the other end, when the glass stops moving, that happens at about 1,000 to 1,200 degrees Fahrenheit. So whenever you see the glass stop moving, it might appear as though it's cold, but it's still well over 1,000 degrees. When we're done making our object today, we're going to take that 1,000 degree piece of glass, we're going to put it in our 1,000 degree oven and let it cool off for a couple days in there. Now that slow cooling process is called annealing. It's really important for most forms of glass working. If we made our fun thing today and we just sat it down on the concrete floor, it would cool off in about 15 minutes, but it would cool off really unevenly. What's touching the concrete would cool off way quicker because the concrete's pulling heat out. Wherever it's thicker, it would hold on to heat longer, and the thinner parts would cool off quicker. It would be very uneven. The glass would almost definitely crack and break and explode, which is pretty cool to see. I mean, everybody likes a good explosion, but then we'll have spent 45 minutes making glass for no reason. So we're going to take it, and I'll help me at the end of the demo take it and tuck it away into our kiln, where it's going to cool off from there. We'll say goodbye to it, let it take a long nap, and pull it out in a couple days. Yeah, that's the general process for most glass blown objects. I'm going to go right into the furnace and scoop up a little bit of molten glass out of our furnace. So on turning, that glass is molten and moving. It's quite viscous at this point. Looks very orange. It's in fact just clear. It's just really, really hot. Those things that are 2,200 degrees tend to be orange, would have guessed. If on a stop stirring though, you can see it continues to flow, right? And you might expect this to bounce like a marble because it kind of is, but when it hits the ground, it really doesn't, and it's still moving down there, still flattening out because it's still molten. We can also take this and stretchy, make a kind of crude fiber optic cable here. Yeah. So at this point, we have that blob of glass. This little blob here, probably about 1,000 degrees, but this is so thin, I can just reach out and grab it. There's no mass to hold onto that heat. It's all dissipated. Set that down right there. It's a little bigger, so you see that she immediately comes out with a little more glass and with that smaller punty. So I'm going to roll a little bit on this Marver table. This is called a Marver. It's a big stainless steel pad. And it allows us to roll back and forth and not only kind of shape the glass, but also that steel pulls out a little bit of heat from the surface of the glass, so it kind of allows us to selectively cool. Then Anna's going to puff a little air into there. If it plays nicely, she shouldn't even have to really blow into it. She's trapped the air and it has nowhere to go other than up and through. The air's heating up, and it actually shoots out the end. But then for funsies, we can see how big of a bubble we can make. I always think that we should do a little ink blot test whenever this blows out. This one's kind of going out into a nice circle, although it's getting a little funky too. We can't go in there and ever pull out just like a softball size or football size amount of glass all at once. We need to kind of build up in layers. So I just took a really little dip right here. I'm going to take one more. And you'll see us take even one more layer later to really build up the amount of glass that we want. Again, it looks kind of orange, it's just clear, although I see a little bit of color hanging off the end of the pipe, but that's okay. That's a happy accident. We'll let it hang out in there. Might make it into the finished piece just a little bit. My guess is probably not, but you never know. Scooping up a little extra glass. Let just a little drizzle off. Like I said, it's about 2,000 degrees right now, kind of the consistency of honey, more or less. But it is going to cool pretty rapidly. You'll see it really start to set up more and more as we hang around with it. It's almost never going to be as hot as it was when we pulled it out of that furnace at first. But like I said, you will see us kind of gather up a couple extra layers of this glass. And then I'll be a moment setting this up, but I'd say you can go ahead and start up that bit of linden tree